3 golden eagles for War Thunder. Link in the description. Hello you sexy beasts, welcome back to War Thunder. As you can see by the title, this video is quite something. This is a replay of a match I had a couple of days ago in the Hawker Hunter. Sadly, I was not recording the gameplay at the time. I really should record everything I play. However, usually what I do when I'm just trying to procrastinate, I just play the Hunter. The Hunter is one of those aircraft that I really just like playing when I just want to shut off the world. Now, the Hunter is a British Tier 5 jet. It's at the max battle rate of 9.0 and it is quite interesting. Now, I've done a couple of videos covering this jet before, namely a guide as soon as the jet was first released and a update as soon as the MiG, the MiG-17 was released. Yes, indeed. Now, the Hunter, when it was released, was the fastest jet in the game. However, to compensate for that with a rather lackluster low-speed acceleration and the handling of a truck. Most of the stats are still the same. The Hunter is extremely fast, but since the introduction of the MiG-17, this thing sadly had its spotlight taken away. When the Hunter was first released, it was pretty much the perfect counter to the MiG-15 bis spam that occurred at the time. MiG-15 bis was overall the most versatile jet, top tier jet in the game at the time. It had a very good turn rate, good guns as long as you knew how to aim them and had enough trigger patience, but it suffered from top speed. It just couldn't accelerate up to any decent top speed. I think the maximum velocity was something like 800 to 900 km per hour. Of course it could catch a couple of jets in the dive, but it just couldn't sustain high speeds. The Hunter was the perfect counter to that, being the fastest jet in the game at the time, even faster than CL-13, although only by a small margin. This thing could perfectly counter MiG-15 bis all day long, which made it absolutely awesome in that role. Of course it was never the most versatile jet, nor the jet you got most kills with, simply because it is a hit and run jet. This is not the kind of jet you can carry games with. I say as I show you a gameplay where I pretty much carry the game. However, spoilers, I do not carry the game by getting kills, actually. I carry the game by surviving. Now this match is a 9.0 match with a heavy 8.0 presence. I am actually the only top tier jet left alive on my team. Yes, indeed. 2 minutes into the game, 4 of my teammates already died. Teams in War Thunder. I've been getting a lot of these. I have been getting a lot of these teams. And another one bites the dust. The F2H has also just gotten damaged. Now, I was joined by a Meteor F Mark 8, which is also an 9.0 aircraft, just not quite as fast as the Hunter F1 is. And now, we only have 4 teammates left. The enemy is still pretty much full. They have only lost 1 player, and I'm the only top tier jet. Now sadly, the Hunter suffers from a very poor low speed acceleration, meaning that MiG-15 bis can pretty much catch up to you at anything below 800 km per hour, and you also handle like a truck. This thing is not a dogfighter. You cannot keep up with MiG-15 bis, you cannot keep up with sabers in turns, you cannot keep up with anything. Hell, you might even struggle keeping up with the Sea Venom in a turn. Couple that with a massive energy loss in a turn. This thing is not designed to be a turn fighter. And of course, giving a clever use of air brakes, you can try and stay behind enemy jets, as is that MiG-15 bis on the front of me. However, I am sacrificing a lot of speed here, and ultimately it's not me getting the kill, but the teammate that is behind me. Now the Hunter has a couple of aces up its sleeve, however. The one thing I pretty much forgot to mention or didn't even test for when I first covered this aircraft was the acceleration after a certain speed. The Hunter is indeed the best accelerating aircraft in the game after 800 km per hour. And this is the one major point that every Hunter player should know. Indeed, the acceleration is so good that it's pretty much your only chance to survive in a game. The Hunter relies on your ability to maintain your speed above 800 km per hour at all times. And I mean all times. If you ever find yourself at, say, 500 km per hour with an enemy jet within 5 kilometers of yourself, you are dead. You are dead. You do not have the acceleration to get away from them, and you do not have the turn rate to get away from them either. And once they catch you, you can try to evade them for a bit, but you just lose way too much energy, way too much speed, and you just bury yourself even more. And that's actually the one tip I can give you. If you ever face yourself being chased by an enemy that's closing in on you, do not turn. Try to do subtle movements to dispatch their shots, but whatever happens, do not slow down. If you slow down, you just fall into a bottomless pit. The more you slow down, the less your chances of survival. The magical number you have to reach with the Hunter is 800 km per hour. As soon as you reach 800 km per hour, you accelerate faster than any other jet in the game. And that is really the strong point of the Hunter, especially since it is not the fastest jet in the game anymore. With the introduction of the MiG-17 bis, especially at high altitudes, but with an upgraded, with a fully aced MiG-17. Did I say MiG-15 bis or MiG-17 bis? MiG-17, sorry, it is a MiG-17. With the introduction of the MiG-17, you are no longer the fastest thing in the sky, and you have to account for that. However, you do have the better acceleration, as I said, above 800 km per hour. At low speed, the MiG-17 is going to wreck you. It's going to absolutely wreck you. It has better low speed acceleration, it has a better top speed, it has a better climb rate, and it has a better turn time. It doesn't have a better roll rate, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, the Hunter isn't the best rolling aircraft as it starts. Now, as you can see, or better yet, as you can not see, our entire team just vanished, leaving me alone against now 5 aircraft. At one point I was alone against 6 aircraft. Thankfully, the base AA did manage to take down a German MiG-15 bis. And here is where the actual challenge starts. The only chance I have right now is to stay near my base, and doing so in always returning over 800 km per hour. This is the only thing I can really do. Damage 262C2B tries to go for a head-on. He's heavily smoking already. I hit him earlier in a head-on, but he just doesn't seem to take enough damage. The 30mm cannons on the Hunter are a bit of a mixed bag. In most cases they are a short, quick one burst kill, and you do get quite a bit of ammo as long as you know how to ammo conserve. The problems with the cannons are that you have to be accurate, since the kind of application you have with the Hunter is high-speed passes. And if you do not know how to master your cannons, how to master the lead, you can find yourself at the end of the game without any rounds and without any kills. Once you fly a couple of games in the Hunter and you got accustomed to the muzzle velocity and how much you have to lead the Aidens, however, they become what could very well be the best cannons in the game. The burst mass output of the Hunter is about 20 kilograms per second, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the highest of any aircraft in the game at the moment. Now this might change with the introduction of the HT-219, if I'm not mistaken, or 229? No, it's the 219, if I'm not mistaken, yes. HT-219, which is coming in patch 1.59? Well, the next patch. That thing has 4 30mm cannons, as well as 2 20mm cannons. I didn't quite get the burst mass of that, but it might actually be better than the Hunter at tier 3, or something like that. However, these Aidens are very good, and they are all mounted in the nose, which makes them very accurate as well. However, these Aidens are not going to help me carry the game. Another aircraft has died to a if I'm not mistaken. We are now fighting left against 4 enemy aircraft. Now the main problem I have here is Swaggy G4 in the MiG-15 bis over there. That guy is proving to be a major nuisance. Staying at that altitude means that he can easily pounce on me. While the MiG-15 bis cannot reach the top speed by itself, it cannot reach the top speed of the Hunter by itself, it can very well catch you in a dive. And at the moment I am a kind of a low indicated airspeed. Now, given I am at a very high altitude, but this is not a good thing, because this is pretty much the MiG-15 bis's hunting ground. Both the MiG-15 bis and the MiG-17 are very good high altitude fighters. The Hunter is not so much. You tend to lose a lot of engine power at higher altitudes. Around 3 kilometers altitude seems to be the sweet spot where you can maintain the most speed while still having enough engine thrust and having enough space to maneuver around. Should something dive on you, you can also dive down and use the maximum top speed of 1,300 km per hour, if I'm not mistaken, without ripping your wings to get away from anything that tries to dive on you. Now, we are still left against 4 aircraft. The Mi-262 is still damaged. That guy for some reason did not go for the airfield. He's heavily smoking from the engine that I hit earlier. The Mi-163 seems to have just crashed as well. He seems to have run out of ammo, and I am now out of line of sight of the MiG-15 bis, which gives me the chance to get away. Once that guy is in my line of sight, I could not afford to go to low altitude, because from 50 kilometers altitude, the guy can just dive on me and catch me. No problem, and I can't do anything but try to evade his shots without losing too much speed. However, now that he's lost me out of line of sight, I use the cloud, go low, go to the ground level, and I'm trying to go up to the Mi-262. At this point in the game, I still haven't gotten a single kill, which is annoying. And normally I would not show this kind of gameplay just because, well, it is not the most interesting. Pretty much the only thing we've been doing so far is flying around, trying to evade enemy aircraft, using the anti-aircraft artillery on our airfield to not get killed by a horde of enemy aircraft. Thankfully, the enemy team has been very generous, only coming at us mostly one at a time so far, but it's soon going to change, sadly. Now with the MiG-15 bis out of line of sight and the Mi-262 right over there, I am hoping to get close on him. He's been playing pretty low. He's been trying to get some ground kills, presumably because he just doesn't want to suffer the fate of the rest of his teammates in getting shot down by the anti-aircraft airfield artillery. I go in for the pounce, but I pulled the trigger just a little bit too late. A split second earlier and those Aidens would have completely obliterated the guy. Sadly, that did not quite happen. And now I am in kind of a dilemma. Now the Mi-262 has probably already wasted his rocket fuel, and even with the rocket fuel he cannot catch up to me at this speed. However, he's spotting me for his teammate, and that's the most worrying part right now. The MiG-15 bis is still somewhere around 5 kilometers altitude, and given that his teammate has just spotted me, it is very likely that he's going to try and pounce on me, try and dive on me, try and catch me, and obliterate me with those 37mm cannons and the 23mm cannons that he has. And indeed, as you can see on the top right corner, given that his name has just popped up in a bright color, it means that I am in line of sight. He is somewhere above me, so I hightail it, go back to the airfield. I do not want to lose this match right now. And sure enough, there he was. Thankfully, he's still afraid of the anti-airfield artillery. Anti-airfield? Why do I keep saying anti-airfield? Anti-aircraft artillery. Now, a lot of people complain that the AA in War Thunder, that the base AA in War Thunder is overpowered. Personally, I don't think so. I actually think it's working perfectly fine, because here's the thing. The enemy base is not supposed to be an area where you can dogfight. It is not supposed to be an area where you can dogfight. Now, of course, the AA shouldn't be able to hit an aircraft traveling 1,000 km per hour at 5 km altitude. It happens sometimes, but it's very rare now. However, it should also not allow you to get pretty much on ground level and just dogfight over the enemy airfield. That's not how it's supposed to work. The anti-aircraft artillery is supposed to do its job, which is being an anti-aircraft artillery. It is supposed to kill enemies that they're going too close to the base, and it's very, very effective at this role. Now, it is not impossible to get to the enemy once he's landed on the airfield, and in fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do at the end of this replay. However, it should also not be easy. Now, the Mi-262 finally has crashed. It seems like he has succumbed to the engine damage that I did to him before. However, since that was quite a while ago, I did not get the credit for that. I did not even get an assist, which leaves me now down to 2 enemy players left. The MiG-15 bis is still somewhere He's still high up at altitude. So I go into the hangar to repair. And that's actually a very good tactic. If you have if you have a hangar somewhere on the airfield that you can use to shield yourself from being spotted by the enemy at high altitudes, do use that. It's going to make it harder for you to get spotted, pretty much impossible actually, if they don't already know where you are. And at the same time, it's also going to be harder for them to shoot you down should they dare go into the area, into the airspace of your airfield. Now, the one aircraft we haven't seen in a while is the last remaining Me-163. I've not seen this guy in a while. At this point he pretty much must have run out of fuel 3 times by now, so it is very likely that he went back to the enemy airfield to rearm his fuel. Now the Me-163 is a nasty little aircraft. It does have 2 30mm cannons. Thankfully they are only of the the MK108 kind, which are the low muzzle velocity kinds. But given that they are 30mm cannons with medium Geschoss rounds, they can be very, very dangerous. One shot is all they need. Now the MiG-15 finally got tired of waiting around. He tries to dive on me. First thing I always do is try and keep my distance above about 1 kilometer at all times. That's a little trick I use in evading. When you're trying to evade on an enemy aircraft that is pouncing on you, present yourself in a perfect target, pretty much in a T-bone position to the enemy guns up until the last moment. If you do so, if you fly very straight whilst he's diving on you, he's going to gain a false sense of security. He's going to pre-aim his guns just in front of you, which is going to make him believe that he's going to get a perfect clean shot off. And then, just within 1 kilometer, you turn around, preferably inside of his dive, so that he either has to follow you, making him turn, making him pretty much lose all the accuracy he had, or crashing into the ground. Oh god, the Me-163 has appeared. I'm now fighting 2 aircraft over my airfield, and this is dangerous. Because, and this is a little trick if you ever face yourself against a lone enemy and you want to attack him on their airfield, the anti-aircraft guns on a based airfield only focus on one target at a time. Which means that since the MiG-15 bis and the Me-163 are both attacking me at the same time, and the airfield is only targeting one of them, the other one has pretty much free reign on attacking me. Now thankfully the Me-163 seems to be running low on fuel or even out on fuel. I did manage to outrun him there. The MiG-15 bis did make another pass, and I'm just desperate to stay close to my airfield. The MiG-15 is going for another pass. I'm trying to use the terrain features here. I'm losing a lot of energy, a lot of speed, but this is all I can do right now. I have to stay as close to the ground as I can, denying the guy the perfect shot. All he has to do is get one connecting hit and I am dead. Thankfully I make it over the mountain, he misses the shots. The Me-163 is still chasing me, but the airfield artillery takes him down. Yes, thank you AA, thank you very much. This, all of a sudden in the space of 10 minutes, over 10 minutes even, in the space of 15 minutes, 15 minutes ago, my team all died. And now, it is only me versus that MiG-15. Now, from the behavior he has had so far, that MiG-15 bis pilot is not stupid. He knows to avoid the anti-aircraft artillery, and he knows to stay at altitude to pounce on me. He knows that he cannot catch a hunter in a straight line. That is not going to happen. However, if he dives on me, he can very well catch me if I'm fighting myself at a low speed situation. Now, since he's the only one left and I have landed to repair and rearm my aircraft, I am pretty much new. He isn't. He has been flying around for this whole time, and we are 20 minutes into the game. Now the MiG-15 bis doesn't carry too much fuel, on contrary, well, technically the Hunter doesn't carry too much fuel either, only 17 minutes. However, since I have just rearmed, it means that I'm full on fuel, while he isn't. And he has also wasted a lot of ammo on those passes on me. Now, of course, I cannot count on that. I'm hoping that he's running low on ammo and low on fuel. But at the moment, my top priority is just getting away from there. In fact, my top priority right now is getting some altitude. And this is a trick with the Hunter. Pretty much the first thing I do when I start a game is get up to 850 km per hour first. 850 km per hour is the sweet spot where you can start to climb. Once you reach that speed, you can climb at around 5 to 10 degrees and you get an absolutely insane climb rate. I mean, look at that. In a space of less than a minute, we are up to 3,000 meters altitude at a pretty shallow 5-degree climb. The Hunter just has an awesome energy retention as long as you keep it over 800 to 850 km per hour. 850 km per hour is pretty much the sweet spot here. As long as you keep it over the speed, this thing is majestic. It is the perfect energy fighter, the perfect team support fighter. Pretty much what I do in all of my games in the Hunter to much effect is trying to distance myself from the enemy on the first pass, turn around very slowly. This is the trick here. Do not use the WASD keys to turn in the Hunter. Turn very slowly with the mouse, because you do not lose much speed, if any at all. As you can see here, I'm turning slow with the mouse and I'm losing pretty much close to no speed. If I were to use the WASD keys right now, I would just bleed off my speed completely. The Hunter is all about energy retention. Keeping your altitude is also a very good thing. Around 3 km altitude is a sweet spot where you can pounce on enemies that are engaging your teammates. And this is kind of a trick here. Now, as I said before, the aim guns are very powerful, but you need to learn how to manage your ammo and how to hit the target. And it's going to be pretty much impossible to follow a F-86 that is evading you. The F-86 has an amazing roll rate, an amazing turn time. If the pilot is aware of you, you are not going to get shots into him. It is going to be very hard, since your aircraft just can't respond, especially at those speeds. You just can't respond fast enough to follow them in a turn. Same thing with the MiG-15 bis. Now, the MiG-15 bis is a little bit easier just because the roll rate isn't quite as good, but it still has a very good turn time, which allows it to evade you very easily. But here's the key. To evade you, they have to be aware of you. And the one thing the Hunter is very good at is appearing out of nowhere and taking the enemy down while they're focusing on another teammate. Yes, indeed. The Hunter is one of those aircraft that can't carry a game by itself. A lone Hunter is not very useful, especially against a full team or even multiple aircraft. 2-3 aircraft that are chasing you, especially if they are a mix between high-speed fighters and turn fighters, you are pretty much dead. You can try and run from map to map, but the maps are just not large enough for you to make any significant separation. And once you get to the map border, you spawn at the same altitude, but below 600 km per hour, and at that point they have no problem catching up to you. What the Hunter is very good at is supporting team members that are being chased down by other aircraft. For example, if you have a F2H that is currently being turn-fogged by a MiG-15 bis, turn around, approach, and take the MiG-15 bis down whilst he's focusing on your teammate. At this point we pretty much went from one side of the map to the other. We are heading back to the top of our airfield. That's where we last saw the MiG-15 bis. However, he is nowhere to be found. I have completely lost him out of sight. We are currently having quite a little bit of a chat in the in-game chat. Sadly you cannot see this in the replay file. But I gotta say, Swaggy was kind of a cool guy. If I'm not mistaken, I actually squatted up with him after this as a sort of reward, as a token of his team, because the guy was flying quite good for a PS floor. Talking is hard. For a PS4 player especially. He's playing on the PlayStation 4, and this kind of host to employ his MiG-15 bis. Swaggy, if you're watching this video, kudos to you. This was a very enjoyable flight, at least for me. Now at this point my suspicions are that he is in fact making it back to the airfield. As I mentioned earlier, he hasn't landed yet. And having wasted so much fuel and so much ammo up until this point, it is very likely that he's going to try and get a sneak landing in. So let's see if we can confirm this theory. Let's skip ahead to the point where we are on the enemy airfield. Alright, and here we are. We are just about to approach the enemy airfield. Now at this distance I still cannot see any black dots on the runway. We are at 5 km altitude, pretty much the maximum we can go in order to keep our airspeed still somewhat effective, and we are at the max speed of the Hunter at this altitude. My hopes here are really that he is on the airfield. Quick look around, he's not anywhere behind me, he's not above me, he's not below me. Is he on the airfield? Is he in the airfield? Come on, please be on it. Oh yeah, that's a black dot, that's a black dot. Enemy spotted! Dive! Dive! Now, this is risky, even though we are going at quite a high speed in this dive. We actually managed to break over 1,100, 1,002 km per hour. And now he is within the range of his airfield anti-aircraft artillery. We're going for the dive. We fire early, 1.5 km away. Please, Aiden's work. And we kill him, but we get shot down. Oh no, we got both taken out at the same time. And look at the tickets, we are pretty much up on the same tickets. Who is going to win? Is this actually going to be a tie? Now, ties in War Thunder don't really work. When you get a tie in War Thunder, both teams lose. Oh! Oh, tickets are going down. Nah, it's not looking good, it's not looking good. Who's going to win here? Now, despite the replay indicating that he won, that was not the case. Somehow we actually managed to win the game. That split second that I killed him before the anti-aircraft artillery killed me, that split second meant that his tickets went down one tick earlier. And that actually gave us a win. So, what can we take from this video? Well, point number one, never give up. You just saw me pulling out a win out of a 1 versus 6 game. Sure, it took its time. Is it effective? No, I received a pretty much a very crappy amount of research points and civil lines out of that game. It took half an hour. This game almost took half an hour. However, it was awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. And it just shows you that the Hunter is not forgotten. The Hunter is not obsolete. Now, of course, we didn't get any MiG-17s in this game. But still, the Hunter still has its place. It's a very niche place, given. It's a very niche place. You have to always stay above 850 km per hour. And you cannot afford to turn. But if you learn how to play the Hunter, this thing is uncatchable. This thing is undestroyable. So guys, hopefully you have learned something today. I know I have. That was quite quite an exciting game. Anyways, guys, if you liked this video, as always, leave it a like rating. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're just about to reach 10,000 subscribers, which makes me very happy. We do have a contest going on right now. There's a blueprints contest going on. Make your own blueprints guide, upload it to YouTube. You can see the terms and conditions on the video I'm linking to right now on the screen. The top 3 winners of that contest are going to get a shout out, and the winner of that contest is even going to get a collaboration with me. So if you are a aspiring YouTube creator and you want to get some exposure, this is your chance. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe if you're new around here. My name is MikeGoesBoom. Thanks for watching.
You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind.